Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and as you guys notice, you may notice there's a little bit more lighting than usual in the background because of my flashlight. Now I don't know if this video is going to be as laggy as they usually are because I'm not trying to run any applications, I'm just, well, looking at the Alliance of American Football schedule. So you guys know how I do those NFL predictions in June or July, usually around that time. So maybe May this year, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but usually around that time anyway, late spring, early summer. So there's a new league called the Alliance of American Football that actually debuts tomorrow at 7 p.m. So I've already predicted all of this, but I just want to make a video about it too, since I predict all kinds of football. Since there's a new league, why not predict the league? I've even done a little bit of college. I only did week 1. Of course, I didn't record Bowl Mania, but actually I do a lot of football predicting outside of the videos I just do. So I do not just the NFL, but I do college football and little league and little smaller leagues like the Alliance of American Football and maybe the XFL when that comes back next year. Probably not. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to start predicting this schedule because I already know quite a bit about the rosters and coaching staffs of these teams. And I'm going to try and predict the first ever season champion of the Alliance of American Football. So it kicks off with Atlanta at Orlando and San Diego at San Antonio tomorrow. And then it concludes on Sunday, April 14th. Wow, the regular season, then the championship is on April 27th, around a week after my birthday. Close to it. So enough of personal information and stuff like that. I just wanted to point out that I have some lighting for the background this time. And yeah, so let's begin. Okay, so the first game we got Atlanta at Orlando. Now for the first matchups, I think for these first two, I'm just going to go with the home team. Now I'm not just saying that because, hey, I don't know anything. I already know quite a bit about these teams already. I know Orlando should be pretty good because they have Steve Spurrier as head coach, and I mean, that guy did a really good job at Florida and South Carolina. I'm pretty sure he led them to both of them to many bowl appearances, so he's legendary for that. In Atlanta, Mike Vick was supposed to be, yeah, Mike Vick, Michael Vick, whatever you want to call him. You guys know who he is. He was literally started that dogfighting organization. But anyway, Atlanta at Orlando. I'm going to go with Orlando. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched for the most part. They both have a decent amount of good players on their team. Pretty similar players on their team. I mean, I tend to lean towards Orlando just because they're at home, and I really don't see a road win happening in the first game, but who knows? Maybe that may just be the case. Now you got San Diego and San Antonio. Now, these two teams are led by what I think are two pretty good coaches. Mike Martz is legendary. San Antonio's Mike Riley. He's okay. I forget some of the players on these teams, but I remember predicting all these games before, and so I'm going to stick with what I had because I remember all the results and all that, so I'm going to make sure I predict that. I'm going to go San Antonio because they're at home, but I think San Diego will have a really good offense prepared and will give San Antonio a challenge, but I'll give San Antonio the edge at home. And now we got Sunday, February 10th. So we got Memphis at Birmingham. Now this is where it starts to change. I'm going to go with Memphis because I tend to think that Memphis has a much better roster and staff than Birmingham. And Birmingham, I just think will be the Cleveland Browns to begin this league. By the way, for those of you who have already found teams to root for, if you're an Irons fan, I wouldn't be too happy with this video because let me tell you right now, they're not going to be doing that well. And spoilers, they're not making it to the playoffs. So this is not going to be a good video for you. So you might want to start watching here. You might want to stop watching here. That will be at 4 p.m. No, actually, these games are at 8. I said 7, but no, they're 8. Yeah, that game will be at 4 on Sunday. And Salt Lake at Arizona will be 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, which I will take Arizona. But I think Salt Lake has just as good of a chance, really. I think these two teams are going to be around the same level. But yeah, I'll take Arizona to win that at home. Then we got Salt Lake at Birmingham. Actually, no, actually, I'm going to take Salt Lake over Arizona. I completely remember that's who I picked. And also, that's crazy. That game's on NFL Network. I actually don't understand why they would put any of these games on NFL Network for the fact that, I mean, they're not really competing with the NFL, but the fact that the NFL would actually help another football league is surprising to me. But yeah, I'll take Salt Lake because I remember after Salt Lake, because by the way, spoilers, like I said, Birmingham will be very terrible in this video. I got Salt Lake winning that. I remembered I had Salt Lake at 2-0 instead of 1-1, so that's 2-0 for Salt Lake, and right now they look like one of the best teams. Then we got Arizona at Memphis. Memphis has one of the one of the most well-built rosters. They already have a little bit of NFL talent already. So if you play on an NFL roster, you obviously are going to be decent in this league, even if you didn't do very well there. I mean, then they got Zach Mettenberg at quarterback and Christian Hackenberg, which both of them were on NFL rosters at one point. And I know Mettenberger actually had some hands-on experience, so that will be good for them. But Arizona, they have Trevor Knight, who was really good, and he did okay in Oklahoma, and then I think he went to Texas A&M and did pretty well as well. Ultimately, I think Knight stepped down from Oklahoma because he just couldn't do anything. But yeah, I'll take Memphis in that. Arizona, though, not a very good start, 0-2. And a lot of people think that Arizona actually has a good shot to make it to the championship. Well, I do not. I tend to think the opposite of that. So Arizona's 0-2. Well, who knows? Maybe I might just change my mind because these are the official predictions. So I could literally change my mind at any time. Then we got Orlando at San Antonio. I think both of these teams will be pretty good, and I really don't know if I should go Actually, I think I originally went with San Antonio. I'm going to take Orlando. I think I'm now going to take Orlando in that game. I feel I have more confidence in them to win these games. I do San Antonio, so I'll go Orlando. I may have went with Orlando before, but I'll still take them this time around. So I see they seem to play every other 2 hours. It'll be anywhere between 2 and 8 is when the games are. I'm seeing a recurring theme with that. And then we got Atlanta at San Diego. Let's see. Well, I had Atlanta losing. I don't know. I think I'll go San Diego. And that's going to drop Atlanta to 0-2. They're just like their buddies Arizona up here. And I think they're in the same. Well, no, they're not. They're not in the same division as Arizona. But San Antonio, San Diego, and Salt Lake are. They're in the same division as Orlando. Now I got Arizona at Salt Lake. Now this is a rematch of earlier, and I think Arizona's going to go on the road and get some revenge and knock them off to get their first win. So that'll put Arizona at 1-2, Salt Lake at 2-1, and right now I believe currently team that leads their division would be them. 2-1. That's their first loss. Heck, and so far they were the only team that hadn't lost a game yet. And by the way, yeah, since I remember, I did have San Antonio beating Orlando, but I'm going to change my mind about that and pick Orlando. I think I might have also had Atlanta beating San Diego, but I'm also going to change that too. Unless I did have San Diego originally, I could have. Memphis at Orlando. However, though, I do think Orlando will get beat here. I do think Memphis has a good enough roster to go on the road and beat Orlando. That will be 3-0 for Memphis. Right now, they're looking like one of the best teams, and Orlando loses their first game. So at this point, I believe they're the only undefeated left. Birmingham at Atlanta. You guys know who I'm probably going to go with. Though they're winless, I'm going to go with Atlanta at home. Also, I don't think Birmingham will be that great, even with guys like Trent Richardson and Blake Sims on their roster, two guys that played for Alabama and did pretty well. Even one champion. Well, Blake Sims almost did, but got beat by the Buckeyes. But yeah, I still expect Birmingham to be one of those Browns teams. Well, faithfully enough, Trent Richardson played for the Browns, so looks like he's going to play for another Browns. Diego. San Antonio won the first matchup. I've got San Diego here. I'm tying with Salt Lake going to So now we've got Orlando at Salt Lake. I keep calling them Salt Lake City. I don't know if I should call them Salt Lake or Salt Lake City. I assume that's where they'll play, and I know that's in Utah. We got Orlando at Salt Lake. At this point, Orlando and Salt Lake seem to be two pretty decent teams, and I think Orlando is slightly better, but I'm still going to pick Salt Lake in an upset because they're at home, and of course, wins like that are very vital. I don't know if you guys don't know this, but of course they don't have not of course, but they don't have extra points, so it's going to be a lot harder to beat opponents now in a game because just say you just have to kick an extra point to win. You can't do that in this game. In this game, say you're down by 6, you tie the game with a second to go. It's like 26-26. You have to go for 2 to win the game. You can't kick an extra point. So that will hurt if it comes down to that. So it's going to be much harder to pull off upsets against physically better teams and stably better teams, but I think Salt Lake can do it. San Diego at Memphis. I think San Diego has a chance to go on the road at Memphis and get that upset, but I'm going to go with Memphis. That will put them at 4-0 and drop San Diego to 2-2, just like Orlando. Now your best two teams are right here. And they play in two separate divisions, not two separate conferences. I was about to say divisions. I mean, they're big enough to be divisions. I think they're way too small to be considered conferences. But yeah, Memphis and Salt Lake seem to be your best two teams right now in the whole entire league. Then San Antonio at Birmingham, that'll get them back on track. That's a win, Birmingham 0-4. And Atlanta at Arizona, I believe that Arizona can win that one, and that should put them at 2-2, I believe. So that's 2 straight for Arizona, and that will drop Atlanta to 1-3. Hurts not having Mike Vick as offensive coordinator. Okay, now we've got Orlando at Birmingham, easy Orlando. Salt Lake at San Diego. I think I'll go San Diego on this one, so that'll put them at 3-2. Wow, that'll put both of them at 3-2, and then we got Memphis at Atlanta. I will go with. That's a tough one, actually. I think I'll actually go with Atlanta to pull off this upset. Well, do I? Actually, no, I don't. No, I don't. I think Memphis will go on the road and beat Atlanta, and that will be 5-0 for Memphis, and that will drop Atlanta to 1-4. Hey, just barely above. Well, I can get this game. Like for I'm just taking Atlanta and upset there. Don't to beat Memphis there. That will not only I think Memphis from Atlanta. I think about how that would have matter, and I think I'll actually in playoffs for the whole entire season. So I mean, really, if I gave a loss there, no, they're probably going to strive to win. They'll get it done. So I'll give Memphis their first loss, and we don't have any teams into this. And San Antonio, Arizona. Now, I think these two teams, personally, I think San Antonio is better. So I'll go San Antonio. Although I could go with Arizona because they're at home. I'm not going to do that because I'm not biased like that. And trust me, I'm not a fan of Arizona anyway. Well, I'd be more biased to pick San Antonio, and that's exactly who I picked. But yeah, it drops Arizona to 2-3, and San Antonio boost them up to 3-2. We have Memphis at Salt Lake. Now I think Memphis will go on the road and win that one, and that will drop Salt Lake to 3-3. So I don't know if that's 3 straight for them or if they lost some in between. I think it was the other one. Yeah, they lost in week 3. That wasn't 3 straight. I do think they've lost the last 3 or 4 though, and that isn't helping. Now Salt Lake. I literally just said a few minutes ago that Salt Lake was on the upward trend. Not that way anymore. They're definitely on the downward trend. Then we have Arizona at Orlando. Well, Orlando's definitely the better team, so I think I've got to take them there, especially being at home. And Arizona is just falling apart here. That'll drop them to 2-4. By the way, if you guys want to know why I'm squinting so much as I read this, is because I have a bright phone flashlight in my eye and it hurts a little bit. It doesn't really hurt. It's just very, very bright and makes my eyes sensitive. I guess a lot of you would probably say that's hurt, but really I don't feel pain at all. It's just a feeling of, just overall weirdness. I don't know if any of you understood that. Probably not. San Antonio, Atlanta. Atlanta on the upward trend, I think. I'm going to have a hard time taking San Antonio, but that's who I'm going to pick. I think San Antonio will survive. I think they are a very good contender in this division, in the conference, along with Salt Lake and the Fleet. I think they are very much in the race. And yes, the Fleet are San Diego, by the way. So I think they're in that race, and this game will help solidify that for them. That'll put them Birmingham at San Diego. I think by Diego, they put them at Birmingham to so especially right now. I don't get straight win. I remember originally a bunch of straight wins. I think I had to put 4 or 5 straight wins, and in the second half, that was crazy. They can actually do that. They may actually have a shot. They'll be the cult of this league. They'll come back at a very bad start. They only won the I had 1-4 originally. Birmingham at San Diego. I got San Diego, and that's what we'll do. We'll go at Atlanta. Now, I think Atlanta revenge against Orlando for the season loss. They will beat Orlando at home. I don't know how many times these guys play, how many times everyone plays each other, but I assume it's 2 like in the NFL. And then you play the 4 teams across the division as well. Wow, this is actually set up decently if that's the case. Yeah, we got Orlando at Atlanta. I'll take Atlanta. And still under 500, unfortunately, for Atlanta. That'll put them at 3-4, and Orlando at 4-3. Now you have Salt Lake at San Antonio. Unfortunately, Salt Lake, it's only getting worse for you. You'll drop another one. That'll put you at 3-4, San Antonio up to 5-2. Sunday, March 24th, San Diego at Arizona. I think Arizona really needs that win, and they're gonna get in gear to get that win. So that will drop San Diego to 4-3, and that will bring Arizona up to 3-4. So they're not completely out of the race, but they're gonna have to win a lot of games. They're gonna have to win probably the rest of their games to even guarantee a spot in the conference championship. But they're not completely done at 3-4. But another loss could very much be done because that's mediocrity for the season. And then Birmingham at Memphis. I think by now we're picking Memphis over Birmingham because Birmingham has absolutely no chance to go on the road. Go on, it's just like it. Well, it basically is. It's an own. 6 team going on the road against a 6-0 team. Who are you going to pick? Oh, definitely not the 0-6 team. Unless you really want to. That'd be very bold, and you'd lose a lot of money if you were betting, but choose whoever you want. I'll pick Memphis. Okay, so now we have Orlando and Memphis. Wait. Actually, Memphis isn't undefeated. I completely forgot that I had them with a loss earlier. I think I've been calling them undefeated the whole time. They aren't undefeated. They were 5-1, not 6-0. But, however, now they're 6-2 because I think Orlando will go on the road and get themselves in a playoff spot, which will beat Memphis probably because of where they're at. So yeah, I think Orlando goes right against their very important win playoff game. I mean, they're not quite there yet. They're 5-3. I think another win would do it, but that is going to be helpful because that will put them right outside. Maybe team that now this is where Salt Lake does something productive. Salt Lake is going to win the game and get back up 500. So when they have 300, they believe 3 straight games. Yeah, they probably blow the lead, and then they end up finding a way to win after like losing 3 or 4 straight. They finally beat San Diego at home, and that will somewhat keep them in. Because obviously 4-4, I wouldn't say would keep them out, but of course, like I said, another loss probably done. 5 losses is mediocrity, and mediocrity does not get you to a championship. So I got Salt Lake keeping their chances alive. How ironic, San Diego will also drop to 4-4 after that. Now they look like they're on a losing streak. They don't want to keep losing, though, because that'll keep them out of the playoffs. And with Mike Martz, that offense should be pretty explosive, so they should be able to win some games that they may even be defensively outmatched. So maybe they won't lose these last 2 games against Birmingham. Well, of course they're going to beat Birmingham. Oh, maybe I have them at 5. Yeah, I think I do. I think I do have them at 5. Never mind. I think that's 5-3 for San Diego. Never mind. We've got Atlanta at Birmingham. Now this is where I might surprise some of you. Even though Birmingham, I said, is going to be very bad, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I think they'll go throughout the whole season without a win. Birmingham gets an upset at home against Atlanta, and in week 8, all the way into March, they will finally find a way to win their first franchise game. Because after starting out 0-7, they will win their first game in franchise history against Atlanta. And Atlanta, that wasn't very helpful, I don't think, because I think that'll drop them to 3-5 now. Oh yeah, that's hurtful if you're Atlanta. Yeah, so that'll drop them to 3-5, and most likely keep them out of the playoff race, considering the Apollos will probably get in there playing the Express instead of them because they couldn't find a way to beat easy Birmingham, but they had to win at some point, and it happened. So now we got Arizona at San Antonio. Alright guys, so I just gotta get my light adjusted. Sorry, that only went through 8 weeks. I had already made my full predictions, but I see I got through them again. So I got Arizona at San Antonio, obviously dropping them to 3-5. That will not be very helpful to them, as that will most likely drop them out of the playoff race as they find their way into mediocrity. At the very least. Well, at the very best at this point, because they only got 2 games left, and the best they can do is 5-5. So now we move on to week 9, which now we have Memphis at San Antonio. Now this could be a championship preview right here. Memphis at San Antonio, because I think really those are probably the 2 best teams in the league, and individually respectively, they are the best teams in their own conferences. So I expect that will be a very fun game. By the way, I mean I could definitely see San Antonio winning because they're at home. But honestly, I think Memphis is the better team. And although these two, I think, well, yeah, Memphis has 2 losses. Both of these two teams, they both have the same record. They're both 6-2, but I just think Memphis is better and good enough to win this game on the road. So I think they will be able to beat San Antonio and get to 7-2, and that will drop San Antonio to 6-3. So obviously they may not want to keep losing though, because well they only have one more game left. But obviously they really don't want to lose from here on out though, because if they do lose again, they could actually find themselves in a very difficult situation, maybe even having San Diego taking over the conference there, winning that, and then they have to go on the road, which they wouldn't like. And then we have San Diego at Orlando. Once again, another very good matchup because I think those two teams could potentially be playing in their conference championship in 2 weeks from this point forward. So yeah, but in 2 weeks they could be looking at playing these two teams up here, almost like a tournament like thing here. But only it's not because they're playing cross conference, not their own conference. But anyway, like Memphis at San Antonio, I do believe the road team will win this game. So both teams are fine. We think San Diego will go on the road and beat Orlando because of all the they have. Mike Martz and both of us should be very close in this one. I expect that to be just as good as maybe even more. But yeah, I do think they go by just a little bit Orlando and find themselves at 6-2. Orlando will want to watch out too, because obviously if they lose in week 10, they could actually be able to play. Well, yeah, they could because they 5-5, and you'll find a second because Atlanta with a win against Salt Lake, that would 4-5, and therefore there's a 1 game difference between them. If Orlando loses and Atlanta wins, there's a possibility Atlanta could get in at 5-5 and actually get a chance to be in the conference championship rather than Orlando. Although Orlando definitely played better football, Atlanta could still find their way winning by reeling off some straight wins. I think Atlanta was like 3-6, so not 3-6, 3-5. Obviously, if they can reel off 2 straight wins in the last 2 weeks of the season, they could definitely find themselves playing on the road against Memphis, because that's probably who they'll be playing. At this point, it looks like Memphis will solidify themselves as the best team in the league. With just another win, that put them at 8-2. But yeah, so let's move on to Sunday, April 7th. Not as exciting, but we do have some evenly matched opponents here. Salt Lake at Atlanta. Maybe not Birmingham and Arizona. I mean, Birmingham is nowhere close to anyone. I mean, 1 win. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone has at least 3. If you're not Birmingham, you probably have at least 3 wins by now. Salt Lake at Atlanta. That's interesting. Salt Lake and Atlanta are both still in the playoff race. They're not completely eliminated. Salt Lake at 4-4, so if they won 2 straight, they could get in. And Atlanta is 3-5, and if they could somehow get a miracle scenario where Orlando loses to Birmingham, then they could make it. But of course, I highly doubt that. But yeah, but just for the sake of the fact that they're still alive in the playoff race, I will pick Atlanta, as I think they will still strive to try and make this championship, even if they don't have a good chance at all. And so that will also drop Salt Lake to 4-5 along with Atlanta. Atlanta will move up to 4-5. It'd be unfortunate if Orlando did end up losing to Birmingham, though, because Birmingham could be better than I'm thinking, and most of these could be accurate except for Birmingham, and who knows, maybe they win 2 or 3 games. I don't know. But yeah, that'd be very, very just terrible for Orlando if they had that big of a gap between themselves and Atlanta the whole time, and Atlanta finds a way to close that gap and eventually get a tiebreaker to take second place in that conference. That hurts so bad. But anyway, I'm gonna give Atlanta that win since they'll have the motivation, obviously, to win and get to that championship game. That will drop Salt Lake to 4-5 on the season. Then Birmingham at Arizona, I'm taking Arizona. That's pretty clear. So that, I believe, is Arizona's third. Put 6. Or anyway, they should only have at this point. So that's probably the closest to Birmingham's level, Arizona, which, by the way, they're two games at Birmingham. 1-8, 6 or 4-5. Okay, and then so I guess we can Friday games as well. And only so far, that's how to Friday game. I guess I'll probably do that NFL that's very late in the season. They're just gonna give an extra day for football there. Anyway, we got San Antonio at Salt Lake. Yeah, at this point, Salt Lake has nothing to play for. They are already eliminated as both San Antonio and San Diego already have 6 wins, so Salt Lake has nothing to play for. Of course, other than to spoil San Antonio's home field hopes here in this championship game. But I don't think that happens. I think San Antonio is way too good. They're going to try. They're not going to let their guard down, and they're going to find a way to get a win at Salt Lake. And San Antonio will finish the season at 7. And 3, and Salt Lake at 4-6. So, as promising as it was for Salt Lake at the beginning, with what I think was a 3-1 start or a 3-2 start, they just fell apart and were only able to win 1 game since. So that will ultimately end their season at 4-6, and San Antonio will move on, more than likely to host the championship game, unless for some reason San Diego has a tiebreaker over them. But yeah, matchup. But yeah, Saturday's matchup, so I guess Friday and Saturday both individually only have 1 game. But the matchup Saturday, we've got Atlanta at Memphis, in which I believe that Memphis will wholeheartedly win this. They'll probably destroy Atlanta, even though they still have a shot. They know that it's going to be too ridiculously hard and it's going to be too overwhelming. Because let's be honest, the chances of them being able to, not only the fact that they're 4-5, but they also need Orlando to lose to Birmingham at home. But then they have to go on the road and play Memphis. It's like the disaster scenario for Atlanta trying to make the playoffs here. It's just like you've got the worst case scenario. You're playing at Memphis, and Orlando plays the worst team in the league at home. I mean, that's lose-lose for Atlanta, especially for the fact that I've got Memphis winning this. And that will cap off Atlanta's season and unfortunately eliminate them. So that will be their season. And just like Salt Lake, they will be 4-6. They had some good wins, including Memphis at home. They beat Memphis earlier this season at home, but I just don't think they can go on the road and do it, as Memphis wants to clinch up home field here, and that's exactly what they'll do. Atlanta will just go home. So Atlanta 4-6, and Memphis will finish 8-2. Now, the Sunday game, April 14th, a week before my birthday. We got Birmingham at Orlando. Now, I don't know if this was obvious enough, but I'm going with Orlando. I'm going with Orlando. I'm going with the Apollos because let's face it, Birmingham will probably be the Cleveland of this league, having several Cleveland players on this team and Alabama players, which those two do not mix well, so Birmingham will finish off the season 1-9 at least. They weren't like the 2017 Browns. They at least got a win on the schedule. And so they'll finish 1-9, but your coach won't be there too much longer if you continue to have seasons like that. But who knows? You have many more seasons to improve, just like Salt Lake. Salt Lake had a season of promise at the very beginning, but obviously as it went, they were not meant to win the championship or even championship. So obviously they finished 4-6, and there's always next year. It's just like the NFL. It's just like the season. That's the original, actually the only season. But I do think we're clinching the playoffs, no, clinching the championship game, and that's already official. They'll be playing Memphis on the road as they finish the season off 6-4. And now our final game, Arizona at San Diego. Now this is actually very vital because San Diego's 6-3. If they win this game and get a 7th win, that will tie San Antonio in the conference. So I haven't been paying attention to all those wins and stuff, but if San Diego has any tiebreakers against San Antonio, San Antonio may actually have to go to San Diego. And I do think they will beat Arizona. I do think they'll beat Arizona. But the thing is, I don't think they'll have 7 wins because I could have been off with this San Diego Orlando game. Orlando might actually win that for all we know. So I think these two teams, I think Orlando is actually slightly better, even if you ask me. I think Orlando's better. But I gave San Diego the win, knowing that they really need to get this going. I think Orlando's the better team, but San Diego, I think, has the better coach, having NFL experience and doing pretty well there. In fact, winning in them a Super Bowl. The Rams. By the way, the Rams just lost the other day in the Super Bowl, hilariously enough. Wonder if Mike Martz enjoyed seeing that. Probably not, unless he got fired. Then he might have enjoyed that a lot. But anyway, guys, I'm going to take San Diego to win that game. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Arizona might win. I think Arizona will win that game if San Diego is 6-3 going into it, and not just for the benefit of San Antonio, but because that was my preseason. That was my prediction before I even made this video that San Antonio would get home field as they will win. They will ultimately be the regular. Oh yeah, sorry about that. They will ultimately be the regular season champions of their conference as well as Memphis, so they will get to host the championship game. Okay, guys, so I got the graphic made up, and so now I'm going to start predicting the playoff games. So the first one we have on the west side, we have the San Antonio Commanders at home against the San Diego Fleet. Now, this is actually a rematch from the game that's going to happen tomorrow, if I'm correct. Yeah, that'll be an exact rematch of that game. And I think I'm going to go with the same team I did originally. No. I think I'm going to go with the same team I picked at the in that original game, I'm going to pick the same team in the rematch as the original first game of the season type thing, the inaugural game of the league. So, yeah, give me San Antonio for that one. I do think the Fleet will make this a very close game. I think this will end a one-possession game, but I got to go with the Commanders. With them being at home and how they've played against certain teams, I just feel that they've made it way too far to lose this game. So I feel that they will win and advance on to play in Las Vegas against the winner of Memphis and Orlando. And so now we migrate over to that side, Memphis and Orlando. Now I know that Memphis obviously 8-2 and Orlando either 6-4, 7-3 based off of if they can beat the Fleet or not. They beat the Fleet, they're 7-3. The reason why I said they could beat the Fleet is obviously it won't affect Memphis's home field because they already clinched that with 8 wins. So yeah, Memphis will host that because of it, and this is interesting because you got Mike Singletary, who once was a legendary player and head coach, and then you have Steve Spurrier, a legendary college head coach, which he was able. I think he led Florida to a national. I don't know. Maybe that. I know Urban Meyer did, but I don't know if that was Steve Spurrier that did that. But I know that he did get them to quite a few BCS bowl games back when that was still a thing, but obviously not anymore. We have the college football playoff system. But it doesn't change the fact that they're bowl games. They were just renamed New Year's Six instead of BCS, since obviously they don't use that system anymore. But I actually wouldn't be angry if they did, though. They used the BCS system to make a playoff. That'd be cool. But enough with that. That's not what we're here to predict. We're here to predict the Alliance of American Football and who's going to win the championship. So Memphis and Orlando. I think that will once again be a very explosive offense game, and I think that's what it's going to take to beat teams like Orlando. And I think Memphis will have a lot of trouble in this game. And just like the San Diego game, I think this will be a very, very close one possession game. But I'm still going to go with the home team just because of how they fared earlier. And now, also, I know Orlando was able to go on the road and beat them earlier, but it's hard to beat a team twice, especially in the same location. So I'm going to have to go with Memphis for that one. And now we have San Antonio and Memphis playing each other in Las Vegas for the championship. And that was a very predictable based off of the playoff seedings and all that. But these two played earlier, and Memphis was able to go on the road and beat them. So obviously, to me, they were the better team in that one. I would say that for sure, that they were the better team. And I do expect this to be just as good of a game as that will be. I don't know. I've kind of went back and forth between San Antonio and Memphis. But I think Memphis, at the end of the day, is just way too good to lose this. I think Memphis will win the championship. But I wouldn't be shocked if I saw San Antonio win it either. Those are definitely my two favorites, but I think overall I've got to go Memphis just because of the way they finished and all the talent they got. Of course, I don't know if they'll actually be this good. Really, the Apollos are expected to win that conference overall and probably get that 1 seed, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to go with Memphis to win the whole entire thing. I'm really surprised that I didn't find myself picking the Apollos in an upset there, obviously, since they already went on the road and beat Memphis. But like we've seen in many NFL playoff games, it is really hard to beat a team twice. And when it's a division rivalry that you see in the playoffs, especially this one, because that's the third time they've played, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. But these two teams split during the regular season, and I saw the better team more likely winning 2 games, which that was Memphis. So they won, and I might as well just give them the win against the Commanders too. I just don't think the Commanders are as good as Memphis. Now, I do think they deserve to be on the same field, and they can compete with Memphis, and they will compete with Memphis. But do I think they will beat Memphis? At the end of the day, no. But do they have a good chance? Yes, they do. And just ultimate revenge against them. I just think Memphis at the end of the day is just way too good. I could be wrong though. If San Antonio wins, I wouldn't be too shocked, but right now I'm going to call Memphis. So, if you guys liked this prediction video, why not give that good old like button a smash, and why not hit that big red subscribe button to show your support. Of course, I'm not forcing you to do any of this, so at your own free will, please do whatever you please. Do whatever you please. And at the end of the day, did you enjoy this? That's all I'm going to ask you. Did you enjoy this? I really hope so. That is my goal at the end of the day. And if I didn't, I'm sorry that I didn't. I really wanted to, but you just weren't entertained by it, and that's all I can really say. I guess I wasn't that entertaining or appealing to you. But anyway, I hope you guys feel free to express your own opinions also in the comments. I wouldn't mind if you guys tell me who you think will win this league in its first year, because I would really like to know, because I haven't seen any prediction videos. Like, I think I saw a week 1 prediction video just recently uploaded before I started this video, but other than that, before I came to record this, I had not seen any prediction videos on YouTube. I've just seen, I just saw one video of people talking about the odds, but no one ever like specifically predicted all of this like I did here. So yeah, I just predicted the whole season in this one episode. I mean, the person I saw who uploaded it recently, he just did week 1, so I'm probably gonna go find some prediction videos if they're out there. But I really hope that you guys come to check this one out in hopes that, hey, this is one of the only people out there that have a prediction video, so why not watch it? Now, I don't care if you like it or hate it, but my goal is that you enjoyed it, because that's what I strive to do every day in these videos. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.